A Thai prison sentence for about 5 years, or even life imprisonment. These are the kinds of headlines. Yes, friends, as terrible as it sounds, this is actually quite real. And what's more, you can get locked up in Thailand for something completely trivial. But in reality, it's only trivial for us. Here, in a different culture, it can be seen as a serious offense. So, to help you avoid getting into trouble while on vacation, I'm making this video for you. Hi, I'm Ksenia Orlova. I've been living in Thailand for 9 years, building a business in Bangkok, and here on this channel, I talk honestly about all of it. I share my experiences, both successes and failures. And I also create useful content. I believe this will really help someone. Subscribe, like, hit the bell, and leave a comment if this resonates with you. Now, let's get started. Vapes, IQOS, hookahs, and other devices you can use to smoke. I strongly advise you to forget about them while you're in Thailand, and I'm not joking. For smoking electronic cigarettes in public places, including on the beach, the fine is 1 million baht. Tourists from Russia, Alexei and Daria, chose the first option. All the money they had set aside for their vacation in Pattaya had to be spent by the 5th day, and they even ended up spending some time in jail. During a walk, the girl took an electronic cigarette out of her bag while she was looking for something, reports the MySLO portal. At that moment, police officers noticed her and searched both the girl and her boyfriend. After that, the tourists from Tula were taken to the police station, where they spent a day and a half. They spent all their vacation money to get out on bail, and another 300,000 was spent on a lawyer, a translator, and paying the fine. Or take the case of a tourist from France, but this time in Phuket, she was convicted and sent to prison also for smoking an electronic cigarette. The newspaper Le Parisien writes, the girl was smoking a cigarette on Kara Beach when police officers approached her and demanded she pay a fine of 40,000 baht. That's about 100,000 rubles. She refused, and for that was immediately sent behind bars for 4 days. She described the conditions she was kept in as hellish and said she would never go to Thailand again. Yes, it sounds paradoxical, since marijuana is legalized here and you can smoke it. But electronic cigarettes are not allowed. That's just how it is, Thailand. What's the logic? I don't know. Maybe you know. Write it in the comments. By the way, smoking regular cigarettes on the beach is also prohibited. The fine there is smaller, 5,000 baht, but still, keep that in mind. Before I go on scaring you, let me just say that Thailand is a wonderful country with equally wonderful people. It's just that, like any other country in the world, they have their own mentality and their own specific laws. You just need to honor and respect the rules of the country you're in. Then everything will be fine for you, I'm sure of it. And now, let's continue. Gambling. As you might guess, gambling is also prohibited in Thailand, even poker. At the beginning of this year, 5 Russians in Phuket found this out for themselves. They were playing poker and smoking hookah when the police suddenly showed up at their villa. Remember, participating in gambling in Thailand is punishable by up to 2 years in prison. And if you're also smoking hookah at the same time, that's a real combo. So hold off, unless you want to tempt fate and end up in a Thai jail like the 5 mentioned earlier. Damaging government property. There's also a super harsh punishment here for damaging government property. A 37-year-old Russian named German now knows this firsthand. Just recently, the police detained him after he removed a police lock that had been placed on his scooter without permission. This was reported by the local publication Phuket Express. And the video of the guy went viral on all social networks. You really have to wonder what he was thinking. Instead of going to the police station, the guy bought a bolt cutter for 500 baht and used it to cut the chain. Later, he explained that he did this because he was riding without a license and was afraid of an even harsher punishment. In the end, it only made things worse. Now the tourist is being charged with damaging government property. For this, he faces a fine of up to 500,000 baht, and imprisonment for up to 10 years. Plus deportation, of course. Jackpot is simple. Quadcopters. Those who like to capture pleasant moments on video with a drone also need to be on the alert. Since 2018, there has been a ban on flights here without special permission. To film for your own pleasure and not worry about breaking the law, you need to get a special permit from the Civil Aviation Authority of Thailand. This can be done remotely, through messengers. Or you can contact specialized stores. They will help you. By the way, you can't use walkie-talkies either, not even children's ones. Keep that in mind. Respect for the king and his family. Respect for the king. This applies to absolutely everyone flying to Thailand. For insulting him, you can actually get 50 years in prison here. We don't discuss politics, nor the king and his family. Either say nothing, or praise them. Why does this concern everyone? Because the king is depicted on Thai banknotes. So, you can't crumple, tear, or under any circumstances write anything on the bills. If they see you do this, you could get into serious trouble. The same goes for religion in general. Most people here practice Buddhism. You need to treat religions with special respect and reverence. Under no circumstances should you enter temples with a Buddha tattoo or while wearing shoes. There have been cases where tourists started arguing with the security guards. Like, why can't I go in with my shoes on? As a result, it's a $500 fine and a month in jail. Be careful with this. Continuing on the topic of Buddhism, you must never touch a Thai person on the head. For Buddhists, the head is a sacred part of the body. And in general, it's better not to touch strangers unnecessarily. Also, you shouldn't raise your voice at Thais. For them, that's a very serious insult. The person you yell at will just take it in silence. Most likely, they won't show it, but deep down they'll be very upset, and for them, you'll stop existing as a person. That's just their mentality. This applies to touching and patting as well. I'm not even talking about fighting. Not long ago in Phuket, there was a case where a 45-year-old Swiss man kicked a Thai woman on the beach, who, along with her friend, was sitting on the steps of his villa that adjoined the beach. It turned out the victim was a respected doctor, who at that moment was simply admiring the moon. Can you guess what happened to the Swiss man? He's not in the country anymore, even though he had lived here for 20 years. The news reached the very top levels in Bangkok. The foreigner's visa was cancelled, he was deported, and his private steps were demolished. It turned out those steps were built illegally, and his entire business also went down the drain. Moreover, it was after this incident that the island authorities carried out harsh raids on foreign offices to set an example for the others. Harsh? Yes, but obviously, the foreigner was at fault himself. He could have watched a video like this in those 20 years and avoided trouble. Overstaying and document forgery. You can also be put in jail for overstaying. It's 500 baht for each day you overstay your stamp or visa, but no more than 20,000 baht total. So if your overstay is longer, they won't charge you a bigger fine for it. But that's exactly when you might end up in jail. Plus, you could get a lifetime ban from entering Thailand. The same goes for document forgery. They're strict about that here too. For riding a bike while drunk, the fine is up to 5,000 baht. Plus, they can detain you for a day so you sober up. They also constantly fine people for not wearing a helmet. And especially foreigners, people like us. At least 1,000 baht. And if you don't have an international driver's license, that's another fine of 1,500 to 2,000 baht. It's worse if your license is fake, which is actually pretty common. You could even end up in jail for that. It's better to consult with lawyers who can help you get a valid international license, or get one in advance back home. There's a whole list of professions in Thailand that foreigners are not allowed to do. For example, photographer, manicurist, and so on. If you get caught and you don't have a work permit, you'll be deported immediately and could be banned from entering the country for 5 years. This basically applies to any kind of work. You can't work in Thailand without a work visa. And finally, here's the juiciest bit. sex on the beach is prohibited. You never know what plans people might have. After all, it's vacation, many people are flying in, the atmosphere is relaxed, the sea, the resort. Absolutely not, don't even think about it. The same goes for kissing and hugging. Public displays of affection are not welcome. And yes, strangely enough, even in so-called decadent Pattaya, somewhere near Walking Street, you could end up behind bars if you're caught doing this. That's exactly what happened to 26-year-old Roman and 19-year-old Dario. The couple was charged with having sex in public on the beach. Here they are, the press heroes, in the photo. The guy even showed up at the police station wearing a black t-shirt with the Pornhub logo. All in all, the tourists got off easy, just a 5,000 baht fine each. Others involved in a similar incident 2 years earlier weren't so lucky. They were deported from Thailand, blacklisted as tourists, and banned from entering the country for 10 years. I hope this video was helpful, and that it helps someone avoid trouble with the law. Why would you want problems on your vacation? Leave your comments and ask questions. I'll be happy to answer. And if you're looking for real estate in Bangkok, you know whose contact you need to save. It's in the description and at the top of the profile. See you next time.